All human societies, for as long as there's been recorded history, have had games. We don't limit ourselves to solving problems out of necessity. We do it for fun. Even in adulthood, leave a human alone with a knotted rope and they'll untie it. Leave a human alone with building blocks and they'll build something. Games are part of what makes us human. We see the world as a mystery, a puzzle, because our species has always enjoyed solving problems. And Cicada 3301 is now part of the internet. It's one of the countless stories of mystery and puzzles you can find here. But while it may blend into the mix, it's not quite like the others. It's much longer, more complex, and, best of all, more incomplete. Even after years of feeding the legend and creating puzzles that lead nowhere, it's still not known for sure who started it or who's behind Cicada 3301. First, we'll go over the story, summarized just enough to avoid dragging on. And at the end, I'll discuss all the details that don't make sense. To make it more comprehensible, we'll divide it according to their public appearances. The first contact was this image, an anonymous post on the forum where all disasters happen, the nest of all that's good and bad. Forschon. The anonymous message said, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have created a test. There is a hidden message in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few who will make it all the way through. Good luck." Ich bin used most people, knowing the kind of things posted on Forschon, assumed that opening the image would trigger a screamer, a rickroll, or some other prank. To give you an idea, if you've never been there, let me tell you about some of the current threads, without images, because they're all the same. The first, trap thread, followed by a teacher from Texas naked, one asking people to post photos of women they know in real life, naked, hentai without clothes, who's your girlfriend, complete with well-written rules, post the welcome sign for Pennsylvania, with all the comments being of girls in underwear. You get the picture. Even with that environment, there were still those who took the premise seriously and tried to find the message. No one succeeded, until Joel Eriksson arrived. He was a computer security expert and mystery enthusiast. Although he was late to the game, as he put it, he was the first to uncover the hidden message. A coded message, in fact, where each letter had to be replaced with another, following a logical pattern he also figured out. The result was a web page showing the image of a duck. Was this a joke or just a false lead? While others kept searching for another possible hidden message in the original image, Joel noticed two words that could form the name of a decryption software. Outguess, well known in those circles. So it was easy for him. He used it, extracted another address, and it led him to a subreddit where he found this code, leading to yet more puzzles. At this point, he knew this would be a long haul, bouncing from one place to another, but it was exciting, so he pressed on. The Reddit page contained a hidden book, of course, and a code to use later. To decode the book, you first had to find the key, which was there but split into two parts, one in the page name and the other in the symbols above, which were actually numbers. Seeing them side by side gave you the hint that they were the same thing. If they matched, then the letters had the values indicated. A would be 10, B 14, and so on. With that, you could work out the rest of the numbers in the fragment. You knew you were on the right track because in reverse it wouldn't work. There was no way to turn 2 into a letter, for example, because no value had been assigned to it, and so, at last, you had the key. It told you how far to shift in the alphabet to find the correct letter. Using it as a template, you'd see, for example, that you had the letter V, and your key told you to move 10 spaces. Forward made no sense, but moving backward gave you the first clear word, king. The rest could be done manually, which would be unnecessarily long, or you could create a macro, or even Excel could probably handle it to speed things up. Now, with the decoded book, it was time to use the other key, which was much simpler. The first digit was the line, the second, the letter. The final phrase that emerged was, "Call us at this number." But Joel didn't stop there. Investigating the original image as they had instructed, he quickly saw that the image's dimensions, The height and width produced two more numbers, 509 and 503. Following what those numbers indicated took him to a web page that no longer exists, but at the time displayed a countdown timer with the image of a cicada. Days passed, and when the timer hit 0, it revealed coordinates, locations where you could find clues in the form of QR codes placed all around the world. In total, there were 14, but they contained only 2 unique messages repeated, so it wasn't necessary to find them all. And then the cycle began again. Codes leading to books, poems in this case, which pointed to a page on the deep web. Joel says that here there was a time limit, and since he arrived late, he couldn't get in. The page had already disappeared, but he heard that those who made it in time were told they would be contacted soon. More hidden messages followed, along with songs, doors, and more twists, until Cicada posted a public message saying they were disappointed that people had formed groups and shared information because they only wanted the best, not their followers. Ironically, the ones who arrived were exactly those followers, the people who had been tracking the entire plot and were quickest to reach that page. In any case, they received private messages saying contact had been made, and a month later, on the same Reddit page, they announced that it was over and that there would be more opportunities in the future. By this point, Cicada was already famous. To prevent anyone from hijacking the concept, they created a signature embedded in each image to verify authenticity. Then came a long silence. The second contact came a year later. They posted another image on 4chan. It looked similar, but the clues led to different places. Still, the same technique was used, a code extracted with outguess, leading to a riddle to find a book, a key to use on the book, which led to a new address, clues in an automated Twitter account, keys you couldn't yet use. It ended much the same as before. The first to reach the end got a message saying they'd be contacted. The difference this time was that no public announcement was made to mark the end. Still, people assumed it was over when, once again, after a year of strict silence, they returned. The third contact saw them getting a little more electronic art with it. The encryption method was the same, images to use with outguess, books, keys, and a web address. But here came the first puzzle that still hasn't been completely solved. A book written by Cicada using runes they had revealed a year earlier, but only partially. More than half the book remains there, visible to all but unreadable. What has been decoded hasn't been very satisfying, and one page pointed to a site with a song. Another pointed to a deep web page that no longer exists. You can imagine paths leading nowhere. People expected them to return in 2015, but they didn't. Until 2016, when they came back only to remind everyone that the book still needed to be solved. And it still hasn't been. But before you jump into Sherlock Holmes mode, you need to know one thing. All those people who reached the end, with the promise that they would be contacted, never were. They simply disappeared. So, by process of elimination, what do we have? Activists, encryption fanatics with a legal but secret objective, a group of friends who meet in the afternoons to eat sunflower seeds until their tongues go numb, an organization that doesn't participate in anything illegal, at least according to them when accused, and apparently doesn't want to make money from it either. And apparently they don't seek fame, because after so many years, the story has grown so much that if they revealed themselves publicly, they'd get plenty of attention from newspapers, television, and radio. It's true that unwrapping the gift is often more gratifying than the gift itself, but I don't think they'd have any trouble landing important positions if they wanted to. It really does seem that money isn't what drives them, or maybe there isn't as much genius behind this as we've attributed. When something doesn't make sense, it often helps to see it more simply. And what I see is this. If you review all their references, it's chaotic, with no real connection. They used ancient and modern writers, poems, paintings, composers like Bach, Zen philosophy, and even sprinkled in some esotericism. It feels like someone trying too hard to appear interesting. If you look at the methods they use to encrypt messages, you see the same thing. A compilation of practically every encryption method in existence, always repeating the same pattern. Here's the thing. When you're looking for intelligent people, like in intelligence tests, what's asked is that through logic, they solve a situation. So, if you put 23 16 inches in a sequence, you expect them to deduce that the question mark is 10 because adding the previous numbers would give you 16. You should be able to figure that out without much prior knowledge. In this case, just knowing how to count. In practice, this is much more complex. The most popular system for professionally measuring intelligence is the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, WAIS-4, which measures verbal comprehension IQ, classifying words, antonyms, synonyms, chains, relationships, meanings, mixing reasoning and memory. Then there's the performance IQ, pure reasoning, recognizing and following patterns, the typical shapes and figures you see in online tests, where speed also matters. It's not like the 5-minute online tests. This is a marathon. By the way, off topic but worth mentioning, within the most popular organizations for people with high IQs like Mensa or the 999 Society, there's a certain hypocrisy. Many people who get in haven't completed the full battery of psychometric tests. They do only part of it, and if they perform well enough, they're admitted. There are persistent rumors, coming from inside, not just outside, that they sometimes let in celebrities or attractive women to give the organization publicity and appeal. You can understand doing it for celebrities, but why the others? Well, considering that members pay dues, those who have gotten in this way, though not all, but certainly not a small number, aren't actually geniuses, nor do they have the scores they believe they have. At most, they're a group of talented people at taking a certain type of subtest. And here's a little trick. You can take advantage of a loophole and put all the intelligence points you want into your character, because you can buy the tests and memorize them. On this very convenient website, for the modest price of $1,822.80. You can get the kit, complete with the answers and the manuals, so you know exactly what the psychologist will be looking for. I assure you, before you take the WAIS-4, you make a couple of intentional mistakes so it doesn't look suspicious. And there you go. Enjoy your new status, officially validated by a professional. No one will be able to tell you you're not a genius. Sounds like I'm selling you a plasmid in Rapture, doesn't it? And these people are so nice they'll even notify you when a new version is available. Anyway, back to the point. We've seen how logical intelligence works, but what happens when you use existing encryption as a method for finding intelligent people? That's a different game. It's more a matter of memory than intelligence. And those two things aren't necessarily linked. It's true that culture helps develop intelligence, the more vocabulary you have. For example, the easier it is, but that doesn't change the fact that a cultured person can make illogical connections. And that's what Cicada was asking for. They rewarded those with greater memory and education, those who could quickly identify which encryption method had been used. Once you know that, it's like assembling a puzzle with numbered pieces. It takes time, but it's not difficult. I'm not saying it's not impressive. It's a massive challenge, but if the goal is to find intelligent people, it's not the best way to do it. What you get is experts or enthusiasts in encryption who are drawn to a mysterious challenge. Whether they're intelligent or not, you can't know for sure, even if they make it to the end. So that very first line they used to introduce themselves was a lie. They weren't looking for intellectuals. They were looking for code breakers. They presented them with a dark, intricate scavenger hunt, knowing they'd be eager to solve it, even if, in the end, they just vanished. I'd been wondering why they placed messages and clues in the physical world for a group that operates entirely online and focuses on digital encryption. Why would they want them to go out into the street? But then I understood. It was about escalation. They don't force you directly, but if you want to continue playing, you have to go out and find a clue someone left. By doing so, you've indirectly accepted an order, and even if it's a trivial one, you're more likely to accept future orders. Little by little, you invest more time and effort, and what they want is loyalty. When you reach the end, they can't be sure you'll stay, but this increases the chances. Another detail, the majority of the real-world locations were in the United States. That's because proximity mattered. They expected in some way to meet in person. More clues in your territory mean the winners are in your territory, which makes perfect sense if Cicada is something like a company looking to hire code breakers. These real-world clues would be designed so that the potential recruit is close by. It makes sense, but why all the secrecy if it's clear they're not a secret organization like the CIA? Why so much effort to hide? We can rule out the CIA or any other major agency. It's not random, though. It's carefully designed. But the CIA wouldn't post a message on 4chan because it would attract far too many undesirables. They wouldn't claim to be looking for intellectuals using a system that can't guarantee that, nor would they claim to want only the best while using a method that can't ensure it, especially when it's so convoluted that no one could know all the references alone, except Joel Eriksson. If people helped each other, whoever reached the end wouldn't have done it alone. An actual organization would be careful with such details, and there's no benefit in dragging a recruitment process on for years. Historically, the closest thing to Cicada was the puzzle released by GCHQ, the British intelligence service, on their website. The rest of the comparisons people make are to viral marketing campaigns that, although they started mysteriously, eventually revealed the product, a game, a movie, a series. Google did something similar to both advertise and recruit. There was even one created by students that spiraled far beyond their control. But all these are different because, in a short time, it became clear they were marketing campaigns. As I said, GCHQ's puzzle seems the most similar, but not by much. The first difference is that we knew who they were from the start, because it was on their official site, and the rewarders are clear from day one, a prize or a possible job. This meant mystery enthusiasts didn't get involved. What they did was post a simple beginner-level puzzle, a tutorial essentially, and ask if you could solve it. You had 2 months, and those who solved it would get an interview and maybe a job with British intelligence. Simple, direct, with a time limit, and knowing the reward from the start. A single puzzle so hard that solving it earned you an interview for a job paying between £20,000 and £50,000 a month. See the difference? That's a far cry from hiding a code in an image that leads to a book, which leads to an image that tries to trick you into thinking you're wrong, only to reveal that it's the clue itself. It ends up looking more like a childish game drawing esoteric symbols and mixing a million random things to seem more mysterious. And that's the point. The mistake is trying to give meaning to a puzzle whose references mean nothing. So, once we rule out the CIA and viral marketing, we're left with 3 realistic possibilities. First, Cicada is anonymous or a branch with slightly different goals but built in the same way. I'm not convinced, but it's possible. They could be testing future members. A small piece of evidence, though maybe just coincidence, is that some of the QR code clues left in the real world were in countries of known cybersecurity experts and hackers who had once been part of Anonymous. Second, Cicada is a game similar to the cybersecurity competitions held worldwide, a kind of capture the flag for hackers. These events come in different forms, but they usually involve teams, and the first to finish wins. It's not only fun, but offers prizes, sometimes as much as $15,000, and serves as strong credentials. Many competitors are legends in the field. You can find people like Cal Leeming, who created a company, designed new data processing tools, and years later sold it and its patents to Google, becoming very wealthy but staying at Google because he loves what he does. Or George Hotz, the guy who hacked the PlayStation 3 and the iPhone. And if you let him near you, he might just hack your soul. He built his own self-driving car in his garage and is now working on something to compete with Tesla. The challenges in these competitions aren't as visually mysterious as Cicada's. They're more technical, but in essence, it's not that different. Cicada could be this, just dressed up in a dark, beautiful aesthetic. The creators of such competitions wouldn't have much reason to create Cicada, but a group of friends who participate might. Recruiting people for future competitions would increase their chances of winning, and while the prizes aren't millions, $15,000 is nothing to sneeze at. The only thing that doesn't make sense in this theory is why Cicada would get angry when people worked in groups, since these competitions are team-based, and worse, why they would always disappear afterward. Which brings me to the third possibility, Cicada. 3301 was Joel Eriksson. The more I learned about the story, the more I saw that many, if not all, mentioned Joel as the only one capable of solving it, the one they named in connection with the most complex and elaborate mystery on the internet. Only one person made it to the end entirely on their own. Those who got close did so thanks to him. Curious, isn't it? When British intelligence did their puzzle, about 150 people solved it, and that was for entry into the service that protects an entire country. Who could create a mystery so complex that only one person could solve it? The same person who already had the answers. Joel Eriksson. The man who solved everything but, in the end, coincidentally, wasn't among the winners, even though Cicada messaged him saying they were proud of him, that he was the only one to do it all alone, yet he was left out. In other words, he staged an exhibition, a magic trick, letting a few others slip through, then playing dumb and letting the story spread, along with his name. Joel is no ordinary guy. He's recognized and endorsed by the deputy director of the NSA for his cybersecurity knowledge. He'd know how to create the illusion that a large organization was behind it. He's a fan of these competitions, and with his team, he created one of them, the Midnight Sun, CTF. He's not shy about traveling anywhere. Moscow, China, Japan, North Korea. He knows plenty of people who could do him the small favor of pasting a piece of paper somewhere, or he could have done it himself during his travels. But why go to all that effort for publicity? Because his name appears in every article, in every retelling, as the one man who alone reached the end of what's called the most complex puzzle on the internet. That's a lot of recognition, and there's more. Maybe I'm overanalyzing, but a year after Cicada appeared, a company was founded in Canada called Cicada Figura, which provides cybersecurity consulting. The similarity in the name is a big coincidence, and the fact that Joel started working there a year after the first appearance? Suspicious. I think I'll leave it here. Hopefully I'm wrong, and all this began so that, after years and years of mystery, it would end with nothing more than an image, and nothing else.